Big price winners in the first and the last at Royal Ascot yesterday from Declan Ricks. Rixie has the day off today. He's getting a lie-in. So we bring in Tom Stanley, our regular host of the Matchbook Betting Podcast. Tom, absolutely no pressure today. There hasn't been any rain, so that doesn't actually make anything as complicated. And it's an easy card, obviously, Tom. So give us a couple of winners.
Yeah, easy card. You've got two 2-year-old races. You've got a 3-year-old race, but they've never run over the trip before. And just for good measure, you've got a 30-runner handicap in the form of the Royal Hunt Cup. So it's simple. And Rixie absolutely smashed it yesterday.
He did.
It was unbelievable. He was absolutely phenomenal. So can I never follow him again, please? Is that all right?
Absolutely no problem. We will have him back on again tomorrow. So there's no major pressure. If we don't get a few winners today, he'll come back tomorrow. He'll take it up. Deasy, how'd you go yesterday?
Frustrating enough, so I think I had 3 places. Thankfully, I followed one of Rixie's tips in at the end of the day to get me back in the green. And I was thinking about how well he did yesterday, and I decided that the secret to his success was that he was wearing a tie. So, got a tie in on me today. So hopefully, this is going to lead me into profit.
I love the way it's.
I think it was just for the week that's in it that he dressed up a small bit, and of course, it's a golden tie. There's gold in the sand. So,
could I just go and get my tie, lads?
I'm ready for what? No, you're all right, Tom. You're all right, Tom. I'm going to wear the tie today, all right?
Go for the weekend, Tom, right? Deasy's got his tie on. He means business, just like Rick said yesterday. Let's dig in. We're probably going to take a swerve in the first one, the Queen Mary. We'll have a look at the Queen's Vase first. Top of the betting. Lots of money on Norway overnight, 4.40. Current outright favourite. Jean Mood is 7.6. Big drift on Western Australia at 8.2. Dashing will be 10.0. And Eminent Authority, also lots of money here coming in at 12.0. Tom Stanley, I'll talk with you first. Not really that surprised by the big move on Norway?
Well, no, I think the Ryan Moore factor is a huge factor because, if you look at the history of this meeting, I think more so than any other, we've had debate in recent months in the back end of last year about where or how important his choice of horse is with regards to Donnacha's resurgence and how long Donnacha's going to be riding for, and they want him to have as many winners as possible. But when it comes to Royal Ascot, it really is the Ryan Moore show. Donnacha's not had a Royal Ascot winner. They have all their ducks in line when it comes to Ryan picking the right horses at Royal Ascot, and we saw that yesterday with his couple of winners that he had there. We may well see it in the 2-year-old races again today, and perhaps in this race. So I think that's the obvious angle in that Norway heads the betting. And Ryan has said that he felt he came forward for his run at Chester with his run in the Derby. He thought he bettered that on that occasion. I don't think the ground will hold any trouble, and I was still impressed with Western Australia last time. The ground is less of a known quantity with him. For all I've said, all that. I quite like one at a massive price in the form of Harpo Marks with blinkers on for the first time. If you go back a few years, you had Sword Fighter win this under Colm O'Donoghue, who went from the front that day. But I think Harpo Marks, I don't know, he's just been a bit overlooked for some reason. I can't quite see why he's quite the price he is. I think he's a horse who he won't go forward in the first time blinkers. He needs to wake up a bit. But I thought he was a fair old price. That I don't know, is there 34 knocking around or 26s hopefully for him? So I thought, for all I've argued that Aiden's first string is the one to side with, at the prices I can make a case, certainly in the place market, that Harpo Marks is worth a bit of money. But this wouldn't be my strongest opinion race of the day, personally.
All right, DC, where are you lying? Actually, Tom, that Harpo Marks, the 30s as well gone. I think the best you can get at the moment is about 28.0, so it's probably a bit of price, because I'm looking a couple of the other sports books well shorter than that at kind of 20.0, so maybe the early value might have disappeared. DC, where are you lying on this one?
I agree with everything you said about Norway. I was surprised he wasn't chalked in as the favourite initially, but I'm going to go for another one at a big enough price. I picked out Nate the Great. I was looking back, I was just looking through the runners, and his name jumped out at me, and I had a look at his Chesham run last year, and I thought he was quite unlucky not to have a win. Now, that's over 7 furlongs. He's gone way up in trip now this year. But he had a good run last time out behind Anthony Van Dyke at Lingfield, and all he did was stay on. I think that an extra 2 furlongs might be in his favour, and I think he's a great bet to place, maybe a small win bet and a small place bet for Nate the Great.
All right, 14.0 currently Matchbook, 2 big prices for the lads. Let's move on to the Prince of Wales Stakes. Obviously, the big highlight of day 2 at Royal Ascot. Let's have a look at the current betting. Magical Air 2.84, followed by, it's kind of joint second favourites at the moment with the other filly, Sea of Class 5.3, Crystal Ocean also 5.3, Ologized 5.8, and it's 13.0 Zabil Prince, and you can have whatever you want on the last 3. DC, I'll stay with you here for this one. I mean, this is obviously the race today on a kind of a scratchy card. Magical, justifiable favourite there?
I think so. Yeah. I think she's a solid enough favourite. There's a lot in her favour today. She's run 3 times over the distance this year. I think that this is 1 mile too. I think that's probably short of Sea of Class's Optimum Trip and Crystal Ocean. I think like Magical hasn't been beaten much in Ireland, but she's improved every run. I know that Aidan likes to give his fillies a good few runs just to get them going. Like you'll often see them, they might peak after their 5th or 6th run. So this is her 4th run of the season. I think she might be. She's drifted a small bit. I think overnight. I think she 2.7 now. Is that what you said?
At 2.84 currently.
2.84. Yeah, like I'd be happy enough to back her in this. I think that I think she has conditions in her favour. She likes off ground and she likes the distance. I can't say that everyone else in the race will like that, so I'm happy enough to go with Magical in this one.
Tom Stanley, what say you, sir?
I think that the market is accurate here. When we previewed the race back, I suppose it was 2 weeks ago now, about 10 days ago, we did the first couple of days on the podcast. Sea of Class was a clear favourite, and I think we were all in unison really suggesting, or Rory and I were certainly were, that that wouldn't be a price that we take, and we want to propose her as favourite. But she's now sort of second, nearly third in. I think that's about right to reappear in this race on a ground she's unproven on, when a trainer has said that she's not going to want this sort of ground. I could happily oppose her, but she's sort of the right-ish price now. I think Magical's a fair price. She should head the betting, given what she's done this year, given what she did at the track last year as well on soft ground over a little bit further. And Crystal Ocean, there's so little between them, given that she gets the fillies allowance and he's rated slightly superior. So I think they've got it about right. If I was going to back something, it would probably be Roger Varian's horse. So I just think double figures about Zabil Prince is fair enough. They've long thought this horse is a Group 1 horse in the making. He proved that in the Dispahan in France last time. I think the step up in trip will suit. I cannot, hand on heart, see him winning this race, but a little bit like Rixie did with old Defoe at Epsom, it's that similar sort of argument. I can see him in the frame, and fingers crossed. You never know what happens in these sorts of races. So I just wonder if he can cause a bit of a surprise. Are those sorts of prices, place market, win market? I'm happy to have him on board. All
right. Can I just ask you about Ryan Moore first of all, Tom? There's got a lot of criticism in recent weeks about maybe not picking the right Aidan O'Brien horse, but he seems to be exceptionally relaxed this week. I noticed that he was interviewed by Micheál Holden, the cricketer, at the races, or Sky Sports racing yesterday. He even cracked a laugh, smile. He was laughing. What do you think there? I mean, he just seems to be well up for it this week, and obviously the market is kind of reacting with these mounts today that a lot of them are being backed early. Yeah,
obviously the trick to interviewing Ryan Moore is to be a cricketer, because I don't think I've ever made him crack a smile unless he's laughing at me. He has had, I suppose he's had a bit of criticism. Look, it's so difficult when he's going into a derby to pick the right horse when they're at the early stage of their 3-year-old career, most of them trying a trip they haven't tried before. And he's under so much pressure. He had to ride Sir Dragonet, I think, because he was the horse that headed the betting. There's no surprises when you get Ryan Moore picking the Derby favourite as the horse to ride. And whether or not he picks when it comes to that, or he gets told where to go, I'm not absolutely certain. But it would cause much more of a shake-up if he chose to ride the 13.0 shot. So he's conditioned into, he has to ride a certain horse in a race to an extent. But when it comes to Royal Ascot, he rarely misses. A couple of winners yesterday, he picked the right 2-year-old. Again, it was towards the top of the market. But I wouldn't read too much into particularly when he rides the horse towards the top of the market. I wouldn't read too much into that. And he is flying at the moment. And Royal Ascot and Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore, that's their bag.
Yeah, speaking of flying, I Can Fly leads the betting in the next, the Duke of Cambridge Stakes, another O'Brien's. Rowada 6.8, Argaretta 8.2, Pretty Baby 11.5, Voracious 11.5, Move Swiftly 11.5. Tom, another tough one here. There's no one really standing out for me anyway. What about you?
I've got one here. This would be my bet of the day. Going through the card last night and this morning, this filly is, if I had to have one bet on the day, it would be Deasy, who I'm hoping you can get 30s plus around for Deasy. Her best form has come on the straight track at Ascot. That included at the end of last year when she won here over 7. Now, I'm not certain she wants a stiff mile, so it's difficult to argue why she's my bet of the day. But at those prices, I'm very much willing to chance her. What have we got at the moment?
I'm not going to get anything close to 30, unfortunately.
Fuck!
Best you can get at the moment is 18.0.
She was tipped by Hugh Taylor last night, Tom.
Oh, Hugh!
That's where the money is going. That's where the money is going.
Yeah. She was 34.0 last night.
Yeah. Well, nearly half the price. Amazing. But, oh, look, I suppose you can back at 18.5.
But still,
yeah.
I'll carry. Look, she's got a £10 pool with Agritera for the Sandringham last year, where she was beaten. She's proved herself on soft ground. She's probably about the right. But look, if she wins, she's still an 18.0 winner. But I'm blaming Taylor for that. But yeah, I think she's an absolutely smashing bet here. I think she's drawn the right side as well. I'm going to argue that in the Hunt Cup, the pace is mostly high, and you're going to want to be there, which might go against it if they all come far side here. But I think she's well drawn in 5, and I think she's got a smashing chance to Fede.
Speaking of 18.0 shots, Deasy, you're like an Ananarium here at a similar price.
Yeah, Ananarium, she's one of my favourite horses in training for various different reasons. Now she's after drifting a lot since last night, and I'm surprised at that because I think conditions in her favour. I think she really likes a bit of cutting the ground. She acts on good ground as well. She won there. I tipped her for I think it was the Derby day. She won at Epsom. She's one running style. She comes from the very back of the field to first. She just comes down the outside, barnstorming run. Love watching her. Generally, if you have a bit of money on her, it's quite exciting to watch her. I think that running style will suit Ascot today. She has a bit of soft ground. Tom Marquand was he had a winner around Brighton last night, and he was interviewed about her, and he seemed kind of I suppose confident in his chance. 18.5 is a great price. I'll definitely be having the bet off her.
Let me ask you about the fact that she does run from behind these. So obviously with Matchbook now, the new feature is that you can keep your bets in play with racing. Would you be kind of tempted to post up, maybe put something there like double that price, leave it there, and then hope it gets matched in play?
Definitely. Like there was a few of them there now yesterday that you would have got a bigger price in running. You would have got a nice price on I think it was Arizona. I think he touched about 12 to 14.0 in running. Again, like as I said, no, her racing style is she'll probably might miss the break and just sit out the back. You could definitely get a bigger price than her SP. Depending on her SP now, if her SP is going to be 20, 21, or like you mightn't, but if she goes into 12s, I would definitely post up for a bit of 14, 16.0. You'd have a great chance of hitting that, and again, you're going to get a great run for your money with her.
Just on that, with the straight course in particular, is where you'd look to take advantage of that. I mean, some punters are aware of that you want a horse who tends to sit off them on the straight course, and a horse that is patiently ridden. But if you've got a strong travelling sort who you know is going to be switched off out the back, the race has changed so much inside the last 100 yards, but mainly from the 2 furlong pole out, they can shift so much that if you've got one that you know is a strong traveller and you know is going to be switched off way out the back, you might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty of it is you can just post it up, not worry about the in-play market. If you get match, you get match. If you don't, you don't. Let's move on to the Royal Hunt Cup. Always a fun one, gentlemen. We'll start with the betting. New graduate here at 7.8. Raising Sand 9.0. Robin of Navan at 12.0. Kinrin at 13.0. What's the story? 13.5. Clonculis at 16.5. Tom Stanley. It was another big price here.
Well, I'll give you another big price. It's gone. I'll give you another, hoping for 30s plus, and it's gone. But I got 4 quite simply against the field, and they're all drawn double figures and higher. I like to, if I had to go for one over the other side, it might be Chilean, but I've had to rule him out because I can't back 5. The main player in the race is Style Hunter. He ran really well in the Britannia. He probably wasn't the right side on that occasion. He certainly wasn't in the Cambridgeshire He's had one run this year, and I think that'll put him spot on for this. I think the ground will be all right for Style Hunter. I still think he's a fairly treated horse. Key Victory is another really interesting one for Charlie Appleby. He is much better than his current mark. His form from last year proves that. He's been gelded. He is a monkey. I had a good few chats with his trainer out in Dubai about this horse because I was excited about him, and they really couldn't work out why he wasn't showing his form. A big field in this sort of race might just be what Key Victory wants. Circus Couture is a massive price based upon his third last year, and Zwyan I think could be well drawn, and he is one. If Sylvester does really hold him up, as was the case last time Sylvester rode him, he could have this develop absolutely ideally. His Lincoln form, 3 ahead of him have come out and won subsequently, and he was in listed company last time, and that was too much of an ask going forward. So Zwyan, Circus Couture, Key Victory, and the main play, Style Hunter. Easy.
Like it. 4 darts. Brilliant. DC, this is not a race you want to be generally backing the favourite in.
No, I have to give a mention to the second favourite, Raising Sand. I think that he's got his optimum conditions today. He loves Ascot, he loves soft ground, over a mile. I think he's 2 from 4 over course and distance, but again, he's short enough price at 9.0. But I think he might be worth a small win bet if you're in the clover after the first few races. 2 have come down on our Style Hunter for the reasons that Tom said. I think he probably has a lot more class than he's shown. He's quite unexposed. I thought it was interesting that his first run back was only 12 days ago, but he ran him over a mile too, which was longer than he's ever really run on before. Like I said, I think he's spot on for this. He'd be spot on for this now, and he's a decent price. And the other one I went with was What's the Story. It was interesting to see that you said he was 13.0. Now he was 17.0 when I was up in the office with you before we recorded this. So there's obviously a bit of money coming from him. We got to see him up close at York a few weeks ago. He won a big handicap there. I thought he was very strong coming to the line. I thought he finished the race very well. He looks like he's improved, and the horse he beat in second, Firmament, won at the weekend as well. So that's given his performance another bit of a boost. Again, there's obviously been a bit of money for him as well this morning, so I think he's an interesting one. Yeah, I'll just go with those 3.
All right. Tom, before I get you out of here, what are the chances that DC turns up in a top hat tomorrow? What do you think?
I would say, depending on his day, he might turn up in one of those cheap felt ones, but it's a long way off before he gets a silk topper. What do you think, Dees?
I was thinking about getting a top hat yesterday, actually, because I know someone who has a purple top hat. But I think if I wore a purple top hat on this, I think Sully might just keel over altogether. So we'll see how it goes today. We'll see how it goes.
Please, if DC has a really good day, can we send him to Royal Ascot in a purple topper?
Next year. Yeah, definitely next year. That should be good. Right, before you get to here,
I've recorded now, Sul. I hold that against you forever.
I want your best bet of the day, Tom Stanley. First of all, if I gave you only one wager today, what's it going to be?
It'd have to be De Fede after everything I've said. One I didn't mention, I have back Theory of Time in the opener, another one for Charlie Appleby. I think she's well drawn. She won over further already. She looked like she'd come on a lot for that, and she's got a soft ground pedigree on her mum's side. So I think she's worth a bit at double figures, unless she's about 5.0 now all of a sudden. But she's not. I've checked. She's double figures. But best bet of the day, yeah, even if it's 18.0, De Fede for me.
Micheál, DC?
I was going to tip Ananarium. I hate going against the lads in these podcasts because I never get it right. But Ananarium was the one I fancied the most in the Duke of Cambridge. Again, he's 18.0, so you can have a bet on mine and a bet on Tom's, and hopefully they come first and second.
6 races he's got. 6 races, over 100 horses, and he's gone against me.
That will happen.
I know. It's a tough day, Tom. It's a tough day.
It's a tough. I would suggest it's a day to kind of, maybe take it nice and handy. Don't forget, speaking of which, if you have not got a Matchbook account and you do want to sign up, the £10 risk-free bet for all new customers, and do remember to gamble responsibly at all times. Gentlemen, I'll see you later in the week.